Uh, Today we want to look at listing of companies in Kenya, and it has dominated public debates in the recent weeks. There are two companies which are likely to be listed by March this year. One is public, the other one is private. The public one is Kenya Pipeline Limited Company. It's a parastatal in the energy sector. The other one is Family Bank Limited Companies. It's a bank, a private bank. So all of them want to be listed by March next year. It has stirred a lot of debate. Others are opposing that Kenya Pipeline should not be listed, or as they say that it should be not be sold. But remember that there's a difference between selling a public entity and listing it. What the government wants to do is not to sell but to list, meaning that any other person will have opportunity to buy shares in that company. So that's what the Treasury want to do, and we are going to look in detail whether it's going to be advantageous or disadvantageous when they do that. But let's look first generally. What are the advantages of listing a company? One, if you list a company, it will give it visibility. It will give visibility that anybody anywhere in the world can come and invest in that company. So you are giving opportunity for this company to be known than currently. So if Kenya Pipeline and Family Bank are listed, even somebody in the US, in Europe, in Japan will have opportunity to know and to invest in that company. Another advantage of listing a company is that it's a way of raising capital. It's a way of raising capital. For example, government want to raise capital of about 100 billion by listing this company in the Nairobi Security Exchange. So that one will be advantageous than borrowing. Remember that if you borrow, you have to pay with interest. Now, if you list, people give you money and you'll never pay back. So, because Kenya have a lot of external debts, it can be one good way of raising capital without going back to the market to borrow. And that also applies to Family Bank. If they need that money, they could have borrowed, but they have choose an avenue of listing that company so that they get capital without borrowing. So that's advantage. Another advantage of that is improve what we call corporate governance of a company, because when a company is listed, it will be under scrutiny of so many regulators, and because it is under watch of those regulators, most of them will be managed better. So for example, if you compare a public entity like Kenya Pipeline and a corporate entity, you compare their management, you'll find that corporate entities are managed way better than the public ones. Public ones, most of them act as just employment bureaus. Somebody can just come and force you to employ somebody even without creating a function for that person. So, but where corporate governance is strictly followed, such things does not happen. Expenses will be regulated, and you'll find that the profitability of that company will improve much better. Now, looking into details about Kenya Pipeline Company, to an investor point of view, it is good to invest when it is listed. Now, there are so many analyses that we can do and arrive at an answer. First, we can do what we call set score analysis. Set score analysis is analysis where we analyze the going concern of that company. When I talk of going concern of a company, is this company likely to be in the market for a long period of time, for unforeseeable future, or this company can collapse anytime. Now, if you do that Z-score analysis, where that Kenya Pipeline has a good score, it has a score of 3.4, which is a good score. meaning that if you invest in that company, your money is likely to not get lost. The company is not likely to be liquidated in the near future. So as an investor point of view, it is good to invest in that company. Another analysis that we can do is profitability analysis. Profitability analysis, we want to look at, for example, the last 10 years, how much profit as Kenya Pipeline has been making. For example, we can look from between 2015 to 2014, 2024, between 2015 and 2024, 10 years analysis of profitability. In 2015, we find that Kenya Pipeline made a profit of 7.2. In 2016, it made a profit of 8.4. In 2016, it made a profit, in 2017, it made a profit of 6.1. In 2018, it made a profit of 10.5. In 2019, 7.5. In 2020, 8.18. In 2021, 1.68. I think that one was because of Corona. You find that the profit was very low. In 2022, the profit was still very low, I think, due to the Corona effect. Then 2023 it jumps to 7.6, and last year was 10 billion. So as you can see, in terms of profitability, that company is doing very well. That an investor should be persuaded to invest in it. Averagely for those 10 years is 10.6 billion every year. That means that if it was a listed company and we invest in it, you are likely to get dividend every year. Like last year, they paid government 7 billion. That one was a very good dividend. If it was spread to investors, I think you could go home smiling. So in terms of profitability, you find that it is doing very, very well. So as an investor point of view, remember that if a company is making profit, it also will grow in market price per share and in net asset. So that one can make us to conclude that if we want to invest in Kenya Pipeline, prepare to go to the market when it is listed. Another thing that we want to do is the structure of ownership that the government is proposing. The government is proposing currently, because it has not reached a final stage, that the government will own 35% while the public will own 65%. That's very good, because meaning that that company is not going to be controlled by the government. So because the listed the shares, the percentage going to investors are more than the percentage remaining with the government. So it can decrease the interference of government in running this company, which will be a plus to investors. Now compare it to other entities which have been listed in the past. If you look at Kenya Airways, the government has 49%. That's too high. Then there is what we call Royal. There's a company called Royal, a strategic investor, just only 8%. Then the public are left with 43%. So if you see that the government is controlling more, and that one is not good in terms of corporate governance, because it means that the government will make decision most of the time, and that can tells you why sometimes Kenya Airways is struggling. So one way of improving management of Kenya Airways is the government reduce the shares that they have there, so that even when they are recruiting CEOs, then it become competitive, not the minister to just appoint. Another one that we want to look at is KPLC. KPLC, the government has 50%, has 49.9%, while other investors have 48.1%. That's also, as you see, the government still have a higher percentage, and that's why sometimes it's struggle, because there will be always government interference. There are some appointment that the government will even appoint politicians in the board, and that one will affect the running of that company. If you look at Safaricom is the best one. Safaricom, the government has 35%. There's a strategic investor in Safaricom called Vodafone, who own 40%, and other investors have 25%. That's very good, because that the government only controls 35%, 65% is controlled by others. And even there's a strategic investor